What I'd like to review with you today is pretty straightforward. Want to dive into subscriptions, want to dive into budgeting, a little bit of forecasting. We'll review expenses, then we'll dive into some HR material, and we'll finish off with reporting and dashboards. So first off, let's look at the subscriptions application. What I want to look at here with you is just a general overview. What you're looking at, excuse me. What you're looking at here is our subscriptions dashboard. So you're going to be able to quickly gain visibility into MRR, net revenue, lifetime value of customers, contracts sold, forecasted annual contracts growth, forecasted MRR growth, non-recurring revenue, things like that. Of course, you can look at this through the lens of time, as well as through the lens of a particular contract, which I'll open up this database to show you, just has more information in it. As you can see, you can filter out contracts by filtering out monthly or annual, or filter out particular tags, contracts, Odoo Online, or companies if you're in a multi-company environment. If you open one of these reports up, you'll see it will quickly give you visibility into your MRR growth over the course of the last 30 days, or depending on how you want to configure your timeline. I'll show you your current MRR 1 month ago, 3 months ago, 12 months ago. And it'll also down here show you the monthly subscription, number of contracts sold versus the actual MRR revenue over the course of this particular time period. Next, I'd like to review with you the cohort analysis. So if we look here, this is we can also look at Salesperson dashboard. So this is important to review because this will show you how each particular salesperson that you're working with is operating. I can see my dashboard is I've sold in NRR $1,188. I can see all the actual templates down here that I've sold, the contracts associated, and the amounts. You can also filter through users pretty quickly up here to see how they're doing in particular months. You can see their new MRR, any MRR that has been churned, expansion MRR or upsells, downsells, and then net new MRR will be calculated here. So last thing I want to review with you in dashboarding is one of my favorite things, and that's actually the cohort analysis. And what that's going to let you do is, we can look at it, for instance, by day. It's actually going to give you visibility into, to put it in layman's terms, how many contracts that you sold in the month of May in 2016 are still with you today in May 2017. The way it does that is in a very simplistic format as you see it here. We can see May 3rd, which is yesterday, we sold 3 contracts. At the end of that day, 100% were still with us. As of today, right now, we can see 100%. 1 day later, 100% of those contracts are still with us. And today, it says we sold 1 contract. Today, 100% are still with us. So as time goes on, you can see 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 12 months later, you'll be able to see here how many contracts that you sold in the month of May are still actually with you. And pretty interesting insight. It's cool to look back and see like, wow, 89 or 90 or 98% of contracts we sold in 2013 are still operating with us today. And you can quickly click in and view all of those contracts that are still in operation with you. And you can, of course, look at things like, you can group by templates in order to capture, the type of contract, is it a monthly sub, and the value of those monthly subs combined up top. So next I want to review with you subscriptions. How do we create a subscription? Very simple. There's 2 layers to it. First layer is to actually create a subscription product here. And we can see I have one called monthly subscription. I go in here, I just define the price, the actual unit of measure. This is just users, it's monthly sub. Product, it's a service we're going to service product. And the invoicing, so ordered quantities, and then tracking service. This is where you can get into things like automatically creating tasks and whatnot for products that you sell in the project application, which we'll go over shortly. And up here, of course, we can see product loss. We can see all the reasons why this product has been lost, and the customers and the deal size. And we can even group out by things like product loss reason. So we can understand how many people dislike certain features within this product, and we can understand the value associated to not having those features, which is important insight from an R&D standpoint. So next is, once the subscription product is created, then comes the fun part. We design the actual subscription template. And when we look at the subscription template here, What we're actually going to be getting into is we can see the monthly subscription, and we can see it's an automatic payments, it's closable by customer. You can see subscriptions in here, the number of subscriptions currently operating within that template. Excuse me here, close off my social life. Yeah, see the number of subscriptions operating within that template by clicking here. If you click on more, we can quickly see settings, subscriptions, and see what this looks like on a website. This can be color coded. And if we go here, we can look at settings. This is the most important part. So with this, we name the subscription, we give it a code, we define the recurrency of this subscription. How often do we want to be invoicing? Weeks, every 1 month, etc. Just find accounting journal, the deferred revenue type. Do we make this accessible to our customers online? Is this closable to a customer online? Automatic payments. Do we want to process these payments automatically, or do we want to manually distribute invoices to customers, and just have the invoice automatically created by this template? I'd recommend obviously the automation behind the payments, and the reason for that is because when a payment is automatically generated, what happens is the customer's credit card information is stored in Odoo. When you sell one, let's look at an existing subscription here. You'll see West Wing, sold on 6/3. You'll see the date of next invoice is automatically calculated based on the day that the customer makes that first payment. When that customer makes the first payment, the customer's credit card information is stored in the system, and come the next invoice, the customer's credit card's actually automatically charged. When it gets charged, the next invoice is automatically created. It's aggregated all invoices over time. In this instance, it would be every month. So over the course of a year, you'll see 12 invoices up here. They're all aggregated within this subscription. These invoices are automatically created, automatically validated, payment is automatically registered, and the journal entries are automatically pushed out into the accounting application for reporting purposes. So all of it's happening automatically. No need to worry about having to, figure out who gets invoiced today, which customers, are at their month limit, manually sending those invoices out, recording payments, and doing that, every day of the month, to infinity. That becomes very difficult to manage, anywhere in my experience between, 20 to 30 contracts. When you start managing that, it gets very difficult because, not a lot of customers are signing up on the same day, and it becomes a nightmare. So our engine will automate a lot of that for you. Define the automatic payment, prorated invoices, and lastly down here you see subscription line. So this is where you are able to put the particular subscription products which are going to be recurring. And of course there's option lines. So you can give customers options in terms of what they want to sign up to, portal access, etc. Now, the next step here would be to actually go ahead. We can show you how to sell a subscription. I believe I went over this in the past, but I can do it again. You can also see view templates up here. This is the same thing as the online quotation templates. This allows you to define the contractual language associated with the subscription so that you can share your contract language with your customer, and they can read and sign off on it via the online quoting tool, which I also showed you in the last video that I sent over. What I want to do with you now is quickly go ahead and actually create a subscription. But before we do that, actually finish off in the subscription module. We can see subscriptions. We can see all of our subscriptions to renew. We can see a running list of subscriptions here by customer. Of course, you can filter by customer, by template, by status, all in progress, by end of month, by start month. We can all see all of that. There's different visibility here as well that we can look at from a reporting standpoint. And of course, if I click reporting, it will show me baseline is the actual template, and here I will be able to see the recurring price per template. You can break this out as dynamic as format as you'd like. The next thing I'd like to look at quickly is in the subscription, you'll see here, you have the ability to upsell. So I know that something important to you guys is to be able to upsell and be able to control to which salesperson and sales channel this upsell will belong to for reporting purposes. And you would do that by clicking upsell, and you'll see you can add your products here, such as maybe app 1, and we can actually create and view the quotations separately. And now we can see this is an order that's linked to a subscription. So if I sell it, it will add this to a subscription. You need to make sure that your salespeople it will automatically, because whoever is signed in and generates that upsell, it will automatically associate them as a user to that new quotation that was just created, which if consequently the customer signs this, it will automatically click in and become part of this customer's subscription. As you just see, as I confirmed it, now it's automatically part of the subscription, and the upsell will be designated to the corresponding salesperson and sales team listed on the original sale order. You can see the separate sales order up here as well. So now we have the two sale order. We can see one is an upselling, one is the actual creation of the contract and of the subscription in and of itself. So you won't have to worry too much about that. It'll be it's pretty simple, as you see, 2 buttons. And when it's time to renew, same concept. You can renew it. Maybe you have a separate team that's responsible for calculating renewals, and the same thing exists here, where if there's somebody leaves the company for whatever reason and somebody else is renewing this contract, you won't have to worry about trying to figure out how to make sure it belongs to the right person. It's all captured automatically depending on which user actually goes in and renews the quote. And of course, all that can be manually edited as well if a manager wants to assign it to one of his colleagues. Okay, so that would be subscriptions, and you'll see up here now there's 3 sales. We have one is a renewal, which I generated, which if you don't want it, of course, you can quickly exit, delete it, and delete that. Okay, so that goes into subscriptions. It's pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead now and look at the HR, I believe, is what we wanted to review next. So let me just double check. Okay. Yeah, so we have client close, virtual signature. I'll go over, actually I went over that in the first demo. Well, we can look at forecasting and budgeting for now. So for forecasting and budgeting, let's drill in here. It's going to be handled in the accounting application. And you can go to advisor and you can go down here to budgets. If you open up a budget, you'll have a list of all of your different budgets. We have none here in this environment, but I can create and edit one. What you can do is you name a budget, you name who's responsible, you name a budgetary period here, and then you define the actual budgetary positions. You define the particular accounts to which you want to have this budget reflect against. You'll see start date, end date, what's the planned amount, practical amount, theoretical amount, and then percent achievement associated with that. So a little bit more on analytic accounts. From when you're looking to do more dynamic or customized reporting from an accounting and finance standpoint, you're going to want to use analytic accounts and analytic tags. An analytic account is very much what you think it is. It's like a shell that it has no real hard implications when it comes to the way that your finances are handled. It does just allow you to capture information in unique ways and then report on it in unique ways. For instance, if you want to have a particular analytic account for a department or for a sales channel, and you want to capture expenses related to marketing versus expenses related to, food for whatever reason in that account, you'll be able to assign analytic tags to those unique expenses. And from there, you'll be able to quickly differentiate and just be able to run a report of all of your analytic tags associated to expenses versus that against food per an account. And you'll also be able to then see how it reflects here in the budget. As far as forecasting goes, it's pretty straightforward as well. You're going to want to, for example, sales forecasting is going to be done in with the sales pipeline. So if we want to go into if we want to go into the pipeline, you'll be able to see here, you go into the pivot tables, and you can save like a favorite for monthly forecasts. And here you're going to be able to have a forecast of May, June 2017, and July 2017 of expected revenue. And this is going to quickly allow you to see here if you want to understand it by salesperson maybe, or sales channel, you can do that as well. You can see in May we have a total of 15,750 for the month of May for the performance managers. Maybe you want to drill in and say, wow, they're crushing it. Who's responsible for all of those numbers? And you can see who's responsible, and you can even drill a step deeper, and you can see the actual opportunities that this customer is working on that's responsible for that much money coming in. So you can drill in and you can get pretty dynamic in terms of forecasting. If you want to actually have like calculations running against these numbers in order to take into consideration, what if scenarios and whatnot, we do have an integration with Google Sheets that's part of our inherent system here that will allow you to push information out into Google Sheets so that you can run, more customized reports in Google Sheets. All this data will push out. So as far as that's forecasting, what I want to review with you next would be quickly to take a closer look at expense reporting. So expenses are pretty straightforward. Here's the expense app. You have two options when it comes to submitting an expense. The first option is to email it in. So there is an email here you see listed. Your employees are able to put the name of the product and the amount in the email subject line. So for example, food and the amount, and then they're able to attach a picture of the receipt and actually send it in as an email. And Odoo will capture it and automatically create this expense report that way. The second option is to manually create it in our app, which isn't that difficult. So it's create, and you're left here with an expense report. So you can type in, this is for food at, Hilton Hotel. You can associate it to a product, of course, because products, again, from like an invoicing standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, you can define the accounts to which these products correspond to. You can also see here in the invoicing that you can re-invoice expenses at the sale price, the cost price, or not at all. And the way that you can also do that is by clicking billable down here. You can define the unit price here, so we can say, $150, the quantity, the date, the account, the employee associated, and then the analytic account if you want to capture things, departments, things like that. And of course, documents up here will allow you to quickly click on this and attach a PDF and whatnot to this so that when you do submit it to manager, everything pushes through. Now, what's going to happen here is the manager, you have no expenses to submit. Oh, you do have one to submit. So if you want to submit to manager, you can submit to manager and save it. That's the key. So then when I look at expenses to submit, there's nothing left. But as a manager, because I am an administrator role up here, and when I come in, I want to see expenses reports to approve. Easily, I can click that, and I have a general overview of all expense reports that are unapproved, but they have been submitted. You can see status. You can quickly, group by, status, and then maybe I want to group by employee. So I can quickly understand how much each employee is submitted and what the status is of that. And if you want to add custom fields and whatnot to this, you're able to do that as well. One of the custom fields I added was expense type. So you can say this is an offsite expense, and I'll show you what the reporting looks like for that shortly. But as a manager, here I am looking at an expense report. If I'm interested in understanding more about this, I don't have to email my employee and say that expense report you just submitted, etc. I can actually just log an internal note, tag my employee and say, ask the question, and I can log it. And what it'll do is it'll actually send an email to my employee with a little button which they can click on to access the exact expense report that I'm referring to. And they can either send an email in to communicate directly back here and it'll log in the chatter, or they can respond independently via email. So with that, when I'm ready as a manager here, I can approve it. And then of course the accountant will be able to expense reports to post. You'll see the one for 150 has been approved. And as the accountant, I'll be able to come in here and I'll be able to post the journal entries. You'll see the accounting entries get created. Here is the journal entries down here, the accounts, the labels, and then you'll see it's not yet reconciled. But when I'm ready to do that, I'm able to register payment when I decide to pay this employee. From a reporting standpoint, you can see expense reports here. If I quickly want to look at, through here, I can look at things like expense type. You'll see offsite, onsite. You see my 150 for offsite right through here. So you can start to really add custom fields to expense reports if you want, and you can ascribe values to them and then filter them out and search through any real dimension that you want to in order to, gain some visibility into like the quantitative value associated with certain types of expense reports. So yeah, that's the expenses. It's pretty straightforward. Expenses get submitted, they get approved, they get posted to journal entries, and then obviously payment get registered, which expense is integrated with accounting, so those journal entries and everything push over automatically, and you won't have to worry about, finagling outside of the system in order to ensure that your accounting books are straightened out. The next thing I want to review with you is employees. So I'm going to do that in this application. So when I look at employees here, this is the HR system. Very straightforward. You have a list of all of your different employees here. You can easily create a new employee up here. You have your contracts for employees if you want to track those, which if you open, they're very straightforward here. Depending on the information that you want to track about an employee's contract, you can build out the certain fields to do so. Challenges are handled here as well as departments. You see all the different departments that you have, and you can click in and see all of the actual employees within a department. If you want to see the general overview of employees, you can always group by things like manager. You can always group by department, and you can quickly see a breakout of all employees in different formats, such as this. Now, if I actually drill in to a employee, I can do so, and this is the employee record. So we're able to see a picture here. We can see the number of leaves that any employee has left. Click on that, it'll actually give us a drop down of all legal leaves and compensatory days and the actual quantities of those here. We're able to look at appraisals that we've done for this employee or that are in pipe for this employee. We can see the deadline is here. We're able to look at contracts, timesheets, and payslips. All information down here is pretty self-explanatory. Things like department, positions, titles, managers, work addresses, appraisals, any badges received here, personal information such as home address, date of birth, status, and then HR settings, so timesheet costs, accounts, who's the related user, attendance, medical exams, all that. And if there's any custom fields that you want to track information in related to the employee, you'll be able to do so as well. So with that, one thing I do want to talk about quickly is appraisals, because I think this is a pretty cool function in our system. We have a separate app here for appraisals. So you'll be able to manage appraisals per employee. So, you'll always be able to schedule an appraisal. You'll see this is the appraisal pipeline. You can always quickly capture, what appraisals need to be done today, what appraisals in the upcoming 7 days, and then what overdue appraisals exist in our pipeline here. You can click on one of these and actually see the appraisal itself. You can understand the appraisal deadline, who's manager, who do we want to plan this with, who are the appraisal reviewers, and then up here we actually have a survey function in our system where we can send out surveys. You design surveys, design questions for surveys, and send it out to our employees. So they answer questions and then they respond, and when they respond, it'll actually capture the survey up here for us to click on, and we'll be able to review. There's that. And if I actually show you the survey application here it is. We'll just see we have one user feedback form. Here are our questions, and I can actually test the survey if I want to, just to give you an example what it looks like. You can start the survey, choose one. Are you using Odoo on a daily basis? Yes. Which modules are you using? Select the modules. Next page. You can see you can get pretty dynamic in terms of all the questions you want to design here. Let's see. Yep, but all mandatory questions. So I'm not going to go through them all today. But yeah, that's the survey function. So recruitment as well. You can use Odoo to handle your recruitment. I'm going to do it in this app here. So if we click recruitment, you'll see it's a pipeline. So here's all the job applications, positions that we currently have available that we're recruiting for. We can click on all the applications, and we can see we'll have a pipeline to manage all the applications. Or you can click on all applications, and it'll show you all your applications in pipe currently, just like that. So we can see as we're, as an HR person, as a recruitment person, you may be working with 30 different employee or 30 different potential candidates, and you'll be able to manage, the progress that each candidate makes down the hiring pipeline. And you'll be able to, of course, open this up. You'll be able to see here and capture all information. Again, documents, surveys, etc., can all be channeled through the lens of this. And of course, you'll be able to track all email that you send and all communication you have with this potential candidate right through the chatter down here. You'll be able to quickly group by, who's responsible for this, what job are they applying for, and a better way to maybe look at this would be to look at this lens, quickly understand the stage, and the actually better yet would be the job and the stage. So you can see we have the developer, we have, and one is in a contract proposal. So that'll help give you an idea of, that resumes and letters can all be tracked here in the system. And then from a reporting standpoint, we can start to understand some more just quant metrics related to our recruitment process. Last but not least, I'm going to drill into dashboards. So with dashboards, for instance, we can look here at, let's look at a sales dashboard. We want to have a unique report of, let's say, broken out by customer, and then we want to see here the salesperson across the top and the value that they're ascribing, or we can switch the XY axis, see how Mitch is performing here. Or you want to see the sales channel. Now we'll just do sales channel. So yeah, you can see like certain reports that way. When you're ready to save this and you want to save this to your own individual dashboard, you go to favorites, add to dashboard, and what it'll do is it'll actually add a report to your dashboard, which is a little app here. So each user gets their own unique dashboard. And if you open this, you'll just see it'll save some dynamic pivot table reporting. You can also save list view reporting, pie chart reporting, really any reporting that you'd like. This will show you here, for example, sales analysis. We want to see each product that's sold, and we want to see it through the lens of each particular sales channel, such as performance manager and regional sales. And we want to have some, reporting here. We can see here that our regional sales has sold on May 3rd. So we can do it by date, we can do it by month. You can even change it on here if you want. You're able to look at, different reporting metrics through here, like order date. We can look at the month. So we can see in May, and then we want to see here the actual sales channel. So we can see here in May, performance channel, how much they've sold, monthly subscription, 455, regional sales has sold 1,138. And then as a total, as a team, we've sold here $1,701. Same concept up here. What's invoice status of certain customers? Who do we still need to invoice and how much? So you can see, and you can of course drill into those particular invoices that are outstanding for customers right from the actual dashboard itself to understand where those metrics are coming from. You can also save things like go into sales, reporting. We can look at this. We can look at pie charts, and we can group by things like customer, or maybe we want to look at sales channel or salesperson or sales channel, and then status or sales channel and then customer. And you can of course save these to dashboards as well. And you'll be able to have an aggregate of different reporting types and whatnot on a particular dashboard. So there's that. I think that'll cover for what I really wanted to discuss with you today. Please let me know if at all you want me to drill more in depth into anything at all that may be of interest to you. Thanks so much for your time.